to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler.
Oh, it is 11:02. Welcome to Lock Shop right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Thank you very much for joining us today. It sucked. I had a great seat out there for the fourth quarter of this Kansas City Chiefs Denver Broncos Tecmo clash between Hernan Salas, the Chilean Seabass, and Yukon Jack from 100.3 The Bear and the Sherwood Park Outsiders. So I am watching it on our Twitch channel as we speak. In fact, we have 12 people watching right now on Twitch. That might be our all-time Tecmo Super Bowl regular season high. Hey, Trev? It's got to be. Yeah.
It's usually...
It's like a Florida Panthers watch party.
Yeah, let's go.
Anyway, the Broncos lead the Chiefs 23-14 with 3.5 minutes left to play. Twitch.tv/Yeg Sports Talk. CFL Week 3 best bets. We'll build a parlay today. That'll be good. EST, nobody bets CFL more in Alberta than Edmonton Sports Talk. I mean, it's just that simple. If you've not yet signed up, please sign up over at playalberta.ca. Download the app, and you'll see right there. We are like built into the fabric of their website. There's an EST specials page, and we've got 4 plays up already. And all of them are for the game tonight in some way, shape, or form. So let me lay these out for you. Jay and Matt's big play of the game. Edmonton Elks plus 7.5 points. Elks defense with a turnover. Rankin 50-plus rushing yards. And Trey Ford 225-plus passing and rushing yards. That's a plus 450. The early bird bet of the day was an Elks plus 7.5. Stingers plus 7.5 parlay. That's a plus 225. Jay's play of the day is Justin Rankin, 75-plus rushing yards. And Dusty's play of the day is a Cody Fajardo rushing TD. He had 2 short yardage touchdowns in week 1. It was 100% of their offense. I've got that at minus 111 right now as well. Whoa, you got another touchdown? It's a 2-point game now. Well, this is really getting interesting. Hernan should not be giving up this many points to Uke. Oh, well, we'll keep tabs on it. He keeps burning Uke on like the same play. God, and then I guess Uke's going to play glue guy when he gets in today's one. What happened? Pick! Oh, my God! Are you kidding me? This game it's a thriller right now. If you are, this sounds crazy, but if you're listening on TuneIn or iHeart or EdmontonSportsTalk.com or you're watching on YouTube, get over there right now. We've got a nail biter between Hernan and Uke. And, I'm a little bit behind here. Oh, I cannot believe he threw that pick. And he's in field goal range for a win. Oh, my God. Twitch.tv/Yeg Sports Talk. Okay, let's refocus. I was working my way through our plays. Those are all up. If you haven't used the code yet, it is... If you haven't used the code yet, it is EST Sports. EST Sports. Deposit $20 and you get a $50 free bet. You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999. The Oilers are doing their year-end availabilities. Reed Wilkins is down there. He'll have a full breakdown on the Reed Wilkins show today from 3 until 6. EST Afternoons will be talking about, unless, of course, Hernan ends up losing to Uke here. I'm pretty sure he'll just quit and go home. And then two guys in the goalie will be diving into it as well. Trev, want to come throw Huss on? We're going to bring in Huss. I hear Huss just laughing in the background. Man, I can't believe this. But how did he blow it? He missed the field goal? Oh, okay. All right, let's bring in Huss from Winnipeg. We got a hot Tecmo action around the office, Huss.
So what you're telling me is I need to fire up my Twitch here?
Yeah, you definitely do. It's the Kansas City Chiefs just went up 24-23 in a rain game with 96 seconds left. Hernan gets the ball with Elway and the Denver Broncos trying to drive the field and win this game.
Hernan is the Broncos?
Hernan's the Broncos and Uke's the Chiefs.
Okay, Uke.
Yeah.
You got to defend Arrowhead here, buddy. I did love the fact that you said that Hernan would probably just pack it up and go home
But
afterwards.
part of me is like, if he does lose, he'll grab his stuff and leave. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Would ruin his entire day.
It's funny because I'm about a play behind, like the stream's about a play behind of what's happening live here. But Uke just lets him keep hitting the same play down the field. Great catch. God. That looks like it's going to be set up for a Hernan field goal to maybe win it.
Vance Johnson breaks 150 receiving
150 receiving yards. Not a bad day. Not a bad day.
I can't remember. Is there timeouts in the old Tecmo?
Yeah. There's 3 timeouts. You get 3 timeouts. So we'll see. I mean, if Uke was smart, he'd probably be using it to try to save some clock here. But
how are you working on how's it working on the handicapping of the Tecmo League?
Well, it's funny because like we were watching this game and it's 13-0 at one point, and I was joking. I was like, I've got Hernan now as a minus 750 favorite, and then now look at the situation that Uke finds himself in, right? So it's going to come down to a game-winning field goal here for Hernan, and it could be a big victory. He needs it. He's lost 2 in a row. He's sitting at 5-5 right now. So
well, we've got 36 seconds left. This is a big third down. 3rd and 1. I mean, you picked the right play here. Well,
you picked the right play. You drive him back even a bit and take him out of field goal range a little bit.
And I mean, there's still 36 seconds left.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, and he's going to have to go for it on 4th down if he's taken out of field goal range. But he's got that same play again. He's going to run it here with Elway, I think. Yeah, he ran it with Elway.
Yeah. All right. Well,
that should do it. That should do it.
I mean, he's still in the 33 right now. What's I'm just trying to remember. I haven't played this game.
You're usually good within 45, I think.
Within 45.
That should be a makeable field goal for the win.
Is it just press the button like for?
Yeah, you'll see it pops up. It's got an arrow that's going up and down, and then you kind of have to hit that arrow in the middle. And good clock management there by Hernan. I thought he was going to get caught in bounds. It would have been game over. I think he just hit a field goal to win it.
With 6 seconds left.
Yeah, so he's going to kick it with 6 seconds left here for the victory to go to 6-5 in the year. UConn would fall to 1-4 to start,
walk off,
which is tough.
It's in the rain though. It's in the rain,
and the kick is up, and it is good. All right, the Chilean Seabass with a tight win as the Broncos get the job done. All right, Huss, what else is new, buddy? We're going to do our CFL best bets today.
Yes,
so that'll be fun. Oh, by the way, excellent episode of CFL 110. I listened to it last night at Marshall Swimming Lessons.
Yeah, we had lots of. Oh my God. Oh,
could you imagine if he took that thing back?
Oh, you had some moves there.
Oh, that would have been nuts.
Well, nice work, Hernan. I'm a big Hernan guy. I am a member of the Latino Heat Nation. So even though he was using the Broncos against the Chiefs, I congratulate him on the victory. And we have not yet had Latino Heat debut on WST, but
you got to get him on. Yeah.
That call is going to be coming out, I think, maybe next week as the Elks come to Winnipeg.
That does make sense. I'm in town for that game.
That'll be good.
So that'll be a good one too.
Hey, did you see the Stampeders announcement today?
No, I don't think.
They rolled out a limousine and the white gloves, and they debuted the Stampede Bowl.
Oh, okay.
And apparently they created this trophy with the people that made the Four Nations trophy.
Damn, that looks nice.
And it's going to be July 3rd, Stampeders and Bombers at the Stampeders, halftime entertainment featuring Brett Michaels, formerly of Poison.
Yes.
And the winning team will I actually think this is a great move for Calgary.
Yeah.
I mean, take advantage of everyone in town for the Stampede, make it a part of Stampede, call it the Stampede Bowl, get an act that might be of interest to some people and can turn it into a bit of a party and try and put some more asses in seats. And, the Bombers had a great time winning. They've had a few big wins over the last few years in Calgary, but I'm sure they'd love to add a Stampede Bowl to the trophy case that includes the Banjo Bowl.
Not only am I going to be calling that Stampede Bowl, but my family is coming down for that game because the Bombers are there. And, Marshall's a Bombers fan.
Big Bomber fan. Love it.
They're coming down for that game, which is so that'll be even more exciting with this with the Stampede Bowl on the line. Well, that's fun. I like that. All right, we will get to our
march down on the sidelines around the 5-time defending Western Division champs.
We're gonna get to our CFL best bets. We'll take a look at the Travelers leaderboard here in a second as well. But Huss, lots of stuff popping up in the last 24 hours on the National Hockey League front. Lots of it on the Oilers front now that they've been eliminated. Rumors of a 8-year deal for Trent Frederick. LTIR investigation into the Oilers and Evander Kane.
That must be going over really well.
It's going over extremely well when they lost a cup to a team that was $94 million payroll in Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. So something's not adding up here. Is it like something seems fishy on this one with Kane and the Oilers being investigated? I don't know. I mean, it's happened so many times. I'm like, why now? We know, Kane has come with some baggage in the past. I don't know. It seems weird to me. Like, why now?
Weird. I heard Friedman talk about it earlier today.
Okay.
And I think he said that the contention was that the surgery that Evander had was essentially unnecessary. Which,
what?
I mean, yeah. And that they sort of they unnecessarily created that situation with the thought of, some sort of cap circumvention. I can't really speak to this. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of what Evander even had and what the surgery was and how they brought him back. But I mean, I can tell you as someone in another market that looks at what the Oilers did compared to what Vegas has done multiple times, what Tampa did over and over again. Not to mention, was it the Lightning that had the $18 million over the cap?
They were openly mocking the league with Kucherov and the $18 million over the cap shirt. So
listen, I'm not carrying any water for the Edmonton Oilers, but if they decide to take a hard line and come down on Edmonton for whatever nefarious thing they may have done around the Evander Kane thing, it will be seen as an absolute farce when they just basically buried their heads in the sand when it was clearly being abused by a number of other teams that had great success playing fast and loose with the rules of LTIR.
Do you guys in Winnipeg talk and wait and hope that Connor McDavid leaves Edmonton, or is that just like a Toronto thing that I'm seeing pop up on my social media everywhere?
Oh, it's totally Toronto.
Yeah.
I mean, well, yeah, dude, there's no one in Winnipeg that thinks, well, maybe he doesn't sign. And then if he's a free agent, we got a shot. Like, listen, we are predisposed not to even care about July 1st very often, unless we're desperately trying to keep our own guy like Nikolai Ehlers.
I was going to say, Ehlers, what's the latest on him?
Well, the latest is that it has been reported. It sounds like he's going to see what is out there. But this was another thing that Elliott mentioned today, with Duchesne signing, and they were actually talking about Ottawa and Claude Giroux.
Okay.
Whether he was going to be back or maybe he's going to see what's out there. Everyone's quote unquote seeing what's out there until they're not. And this is the sort of time of year where I think a lot of times teams come together and get serious with players that maybe have the opportunity to go elsewhere. They certainly said that they've never shut the door on Winnipeg. And the funny thing is that Elliott said that, Ehlers is a guy, or no, maybe this was Drager earlier. This is a different conversation. This was Drager on Overdrive yesterday saying that, Ehlers is still really fond of Winnipeg, but, was thinking about seeing what's out there, but, is kind of prefers a quieter market.
Yeah.
Thinking about the big picture.
I saw that quote. Yeah.
Those people in Toronto and Montreal that think that Ehlers is going to show up there. I'm sorry, that is the exact opposite of a quieter market. And Ehlers, for the most part, just lives pretty chill here in Winnipeg. He's never been listen, there's a lot of fan support for Ehlers. I mean, any sort of big Ehlers conversations over the last few years has been, we need this guy in the first line. They need to play him more. I mean, like he has been incredibly well supported. So I don't think any of that really is an issue here. But it is why you think of a place like Carolina that has been rumored that might be a good landing spot for Nick. That is concerning because, I mean, they do have a really good squad. They've signed a number of these players long-term, and he'd fit in pretty nice there. Although from a Carolina standpoint, like, let's just think about what happened to them in the conference finals again. They got pushed around by the Florida Panthers. Like, I love Nikolai Ehlers. I desperately want him to stay here as a Winnipeg Jet. But when you look at what they were missing against Florida in that, I mean, it's not another small, speedy, talented offensive player. It's probably more jam and more size and more strength to be able to go toe-to-toe with the Florida Panthers. So I'm really not too sure. It certainly is on the top of everyone's mind here right now. And I will just remind everyone that, you know, and certainly these are maybe more of the Winnipeg listeners of the Lock Shop that are tuning in that have sort of said, okay, the ship has sailed on Nikolai Ehlers. Our pal Pierre LeBrun and many other insiders said exactly that. Wrote in The Athletic, as far as Connor Hellebuck, the ship has sailed. And then what happened?
Yeah,
he signed a long-term extension with the Winnipeg Jets. So there's a lot of stuff we're hearing right now. Some of it is true. Some of it's BS. Some of it is planted by agents. Some of it's planted by teams. So I think you really need to just take everything you hear right now with a grain of salt. But back to your original question about the McDavid thing. Yeah, it's entire Toronto. Oh, he's going to be coming home and he's going to do all this. Like, I can't imagine. Like, let's just for a moment entertain a scenario where Connor's like, you know what? I'm not sure if Edmonton is the right place for me for my next, long-term contract. Which, I mean, I guess there's a small percent. I don't think that's happening. I think he's going to plan to win and bring a Stanley Cup to Edmonton.
Yeah, the speculation here right now is it might be a 4 or 5 year deal. But anyway, I don't think he's going anywhere.
That would, listen, I could totally see that. I think that, I mean, as much as people want to, for Connor McDavid, that makes sense, right? You go 4 or 5 more years here. And, you know, if it's really working, then you just stay. But either way, you're going to cash in the next biggest contract in NHL history, right? Yeah. 5 years from now, you're going to get $20 million a season for the next 8 years type of thing. So, yeah. And at that point, you get your 8 years and it's going to take you from 32. What is he, 28 now?
32 to 40. It'll be like that. His final contract would take him, you know, along that line, as opposed to get the money now and then sign like a 4-year deal after.
Yeah, you're a hell of a lot better signing your deal at 32 than you are at 35, as we all know. But let's just for a moment envision the scenario where he's like, you know what? After next year, I think I'm going to go elsewhere. Does anyone think that he's going to be going to the Toronto Maple Leafs? Like, and I'm not accusing him of being a ring chaser or anything. I mean, I think he'll try to go to a good team that he feels like he has a chance to win. But I would go so far as to say the last place in the world that he'd want to go into is in Toronto. I mean, he's a pretty private guy. I think for the most part, people in Edmonton have been really respectful of McDavid's privacy. I mean, you know, obviously there's a few things that you probably don't like. That'll happen almost anywhere. After seeing what's happened with Mitch Marner in Toronto, can you imagine if McDavid came in and signs a max contract with the Toronto Maple Leafs and is expected to be that guy that ends? I mean, it's still a team.
God.
One guy can only do so much.
Yeah.
That would be probably the worst situation in the entire NHL. And I include Montreal in that. And they are completely insane in Montreal. And hockey is a religion. That would be, just for his personal life, the worst place he could possibly go. So, I mean, listen, if I'm a Leaf fan, I get it. I mean, I would be saying and kind of thinking and trying to convince myself of the same thing too. It would be a move that would be completely counterintuitive to, I think, everything that guy is about. Now, you know, listen, if there's a situation down the road where he already has 2 or 3 cups and he kind of is romantic about the notion of maybe coming back for a year or two. And
couple years left. Yeah.
Top. Okay, maybe. But at this point in his career, I can't think of anything that would make less sense than going to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, and by the way, in the Panthers division too.
Yeah. And as we revealed yesterday, looking at the cap hits, Florida is going to be a really good team for a very, very long time.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
No.
They are not going anywhere. I mean, the what's going to be really interesting is just this next couple weeks as far as what they get done. Who is in. I got to think, I know we talked about this yesterday. I got to think they're going to keep Bennett. And I do think that Ekblad, he's been making pretty good money, 7.5. Well, I think Ekblad is one of those guys that would be more than happy on leaving $1 million or $1.5 million, much like he's seen guys like Verhaeghe and guys like Reinhart do, to stick around long-term with trade protection, knowing that your family, you're here with the Stanley Cup. You're here with the champs. You got a chance for a three-peat next year, and you're not going anywhere in the future. Marchand's a little different because it does seem like he really wants to, or from what we've heard, I haven't talked to him personally, but that he wants to maximize his earning potential for these final few years of his career. And man, did he do a great thing to up his market value with the way he played throughout the playoffs and the Stanley Cup final.
It's Nielson and Huss with you. Huss, of course, from Winnipeg Sports Talk. We're right here in Edmonton with Edmonton Sports Talk. Did I see you talking about Jonathan Toews on your show this week?
Oh, yeah.
What's is Winnipeg the front runner for this guy or close to it?
I mean, from it sounds like it. I mean, Cam Robinson from Elite Prospects, he's a real beauty. He's been all over this and has said that, from a number of people that, NHL sources, they feel that he's going to Winnipeg. It's sort of been put out that Winnipeg might be the front runner right now, but it's Winnipeg and Colorado. We've heard potentially Tampa. I think the Jet organization has been working on this for a long time. And, we just talked about, okay. Well, and I mean, Edmonton was another spot that, frankly, I think we'd maybe heard. And I mean, of course, you'd love to have a guy like that. There's a lot of questions about what he'll be when he comes back.
Yeah, you never know. It's a totally, who knows?
But listen, this is a low risk, high ceiling signing if you get a guy like that. Like, I can tell you one thing about Jonathan Toews. This guy's walking straight into the Hall of Fame the day that he's eligible. So after everything that he's been through, he's accomplished it all. Gold medals, trophies, Stanley Cups. And there's not anything left for him to prove. So if he's coming back, Dusty, he's not coming back just to be a fourth line player that'll play 7-8 minutes a night and maybe go win a team a couple faceoffs. He's coming back because he believes he can be an impact player, can help a team win, and probably play a significant role. Now, I don't think you can count on that the day that you sign him, but you look at where Winnipeg is right now with this hole in their top six in the top in that 2C position, as opposed to a place like Colorado, where you got McKinnon, you just re-signed Brock Nelson for 3 years. You've got Landeskog. You've got, a number of other guys that are centers right now. And I don't think the fit or the spot is as obvious for Jonathan Toews. And listen, he's also from here. So I think his family, people that have been close to him, there's a little bit of a romantic side to it of him coming back and maybe helping to be a real missing piece for the Winnipeg Jets. So it's been fun talking about it. He'd be a great add. I think the Jets need him a lot more than the other teams do. So we'll see what happens. But that's something where, we've heard that this could be decided on very soon, like in advance of July 1st, like potentially over the next couple days. So if that's the case, we here in Winnipeg will be very, very interested to see what happens. And, you hope that maybe that does happen. And maybe that's something that gives Nikolai Ehlers a little bit more incentive maybe to stick around right now. But big time waiting game for so many of us around the league as we get closer to the 1st of July. And everything that could or could not happen before then with players that are still under team control. The one thing that happens if Ehlers gets to July 1st, that 8th year is off the table. And I do think that might be something that Winnipeg could offer Nick based on what is out there and give him that extra year to try and make him a Jet for life.
It's just, I want to go back around. You're talking about Ehlers and Carolina. Do you think, because we're trying to figure out how the Oilers could get Evander Kane off their books, do you think Evander Kane, you think Carolina would be remotely interested in him and be like, could he be a guy that could push back a little bit if he's happy and he's healthy? Because we're trying to think, like, can you get a warm body for Kane? Would you have to add to Kane? He's 5.1. But like he could maybe serve a purpose with the Carolina Hurricanes in which you could maybe get something as a return.
Like when I look at that team, I actually do think, and I think Rod Brind'Amour is a strong enough leader and personality that I don't think that they would be worried about Evander maybe being a negative influence in the room or anything like that. And to be honest, I think he's done a pretty good job of, within the hockey world of maybe mending his reputation a little bit during his time in Edmonton.
Yeah, he has for sure. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of teams would be more than happy to have. And again, it's not like you're buying this guy for 5 years. He's got 1 year left, right?
Yeah, 1 year left.
It's a single year. So again, it's sort of low cost. Now, like, look at Carolina right now. They've got $28 million in cap space. Everybody is signed for next year, minus Jack Roslovic, Tyson Jost, if he gets a deal, Eric Robinson, and then Brent Burns and Dmitry Orlov. Burns is 40.
Yeah.
Orlov's 33.
He was awful in the playoffs too.
Exactly. So, I mean, like, we'll see whether they even want to go that direction. They've got a couple younger defensemen, I think, that are ready to pop in. But let's say they resign a couple of those guys. They've got a chance to take on, I mean, they could go for Marner. They could go for Ehlers. I mean, they could spend on a big name money free agent. It would be funny if they took a run at Sam Bennett right there and see if Sam could come back at Florida the next year. But that question you just asked about Evander Kane, yeah, I do think at that money, I think makes sense. And again, like all of these teams are looking for players that can provide that sort of edge and physicality and can chip in. And listen, I know Evander didn't have a great final and took some stupid penalties, and that's something you got to be worried of. He also was very impactful earlier on in the playoffs when they desperately needed him, starting in 3 against that LA game. And he wasn't the only one that sort of, was rendered a little bit, shall we say, less than impactful by the Florida Panthers. The Panthers did that to just about everybody on the Oilers in a few games, and that's why they're partying right now at the Elbow Room, and we're having this conversation right now. So Kane is a unique guy, man. Like he's got, I don't know how much he has left in him offensively and whatnot, but for 1 more year, a chance, I think that would be one of those low risk, potentially high reward guys. And as far as what it would take, like, to be honest, I think Carolina is pretty shrewd when it comes to knowing people's salary situation.
Yeah.
Like they might say, "Oh yeah, we'll take Evander Kane for you, and you give us." Do you guys have any picks left?
Like in this year's draft, it's only a 3rd and a 6th and a 7th. So
yeah. They'll ask for the 3rd and take the 6th or whatever. Evander Kane, but that I think might be a way to get them off the books. I guess the Oilers have just under $12 million in cap space.
Yeah, they have just under 12 million. And let me just lay it out for you if you have any thoughts on it. They have just under 12 mil. With that being said, Arvidsson, I think, is ready to leave, and I think you can find a place for him. He's only 4 mil, so I would bump it up to 16 mil. But apparently they're going to give Frederick 4 mil, and then Bush is going to get 10 to 10.5, and that's pretty much the whole cap. So then if you want to improve your goaltending, you're going to have to move Skinner, or you try to get rid of Kane and then use that money on a couple of guys. But it's looking like Frederick and Bouchard will probably come in at about combined 15 mil. So
what were the Dasties saying about this Frederick report today?
It's funny because there are some people who don't mind it. There are others who think it's ridiculous that he would get an 8-year contract. He was awful in the playoffs, but he was coming off the high ankle sprain. And Gazdic said this morning, he thinks it might have been a little something else as well. I just think if you're going to give a guy of that caliber of player 8 years, Like, to me, the number for Frederick on a 4-year deal should be $4 million. The number on an 8-year deal should be down a lot closer to 3 if you're going to give him an 8-year contract. You know what I mean? So I think they're paying a bit of an Oilers tax to keep him, and I don't think they should be paying Oilers tax anymore. But that's just me.
Oilers tax. There's a lot of players. I think, like, honestly, this takes me back to. I know you guys probably don't want to talk about last year's offseason, but I still can't wrap my head around how they had to pay Jeff Skinner $3 million to come there, or Arvidsson $4 million. Like, the opportunity to play with Connor and Leon right now in this Stanley Cup window is very attractive to a lot of players. And I mean, this isn't Winnipeg that's trying to get people to come to Canada to a smaller market for a team that, hasn't been to where you guys have been.
Yeah.
This is a team that has McDavid and Draisaitl and is ready to win and is very, very close. So I thought that they bumbled it big time last year, and obviously that doesn't even start talking about the guys that went to St. Louis in the office.
Well, even Arvidsson got a no movement clause, though. It's like, why do you give that guy that type of deal? So it's frustrating, but I want to spend some more time talking Canadian Football League. Are we good on the hockey?
You are. I'm just going to say on Trent Frederick before I say what in the world are they doing? If you look at, he had a 40-point season. He scored 17 and 18.
Yeah, he had 35 over 2 years with Boston.
And he does play with a bit of an edge.
I think they view him basically the Kane replacement, right? Like, he's a guy who'll fight if you need to. We'll muck it up a bit.
He doesn't like the big boys, but I still have an issue when the Jets were pasting Boston 8-1.
Yeah, who did he jump?
David Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Swede with 0 fights ever in the league. It was a gutless move. But anyways, maybe it was karma that took out the rest of his season. I don't know. You knew he was going to get a raise.
Yeah.
But I had some sticker shock, I'll be honest. I mean, and maybe it's just because he didn't do much in the playoffs. Granted, he was hurt. But that is the sort of player I think that Edmonton and a lot of teams are looking for. So maybe they're trying to make that happen beforehand. But yes, we'll have played, like, all this stuff is not changing in the next day or two. We've got many shades to get to. What is changing is the betting lines for the Canadian Football League, as we hear different guys taking snaps in practice at quarterback day after day after day. Apparently it's Dustin Crum today.
Dustin Crum was taking some snaps yesterday too. He's the first group guy yesterday as well. So, I mean, yeah, let's work through. We'll build a CFL part. I feel some pressure because you and Owanik have had success on these. So, I mean, I got to step up. Let's go first tonight. We've got a ton of Elks plays over on our EST specials page at Play Alberta already. This line, it's funny because I saw it at 6. Then when Owanik sent out our EST weekly pick'em, it was 7.5. And I replied to him. I was like, where did you get this 7.5 from? He goes, that's where it was at today. I think Remo replied to him as well. And was just like 7.5. And then it was back down to 6.5. I'm seeing it at 7 right now in this Montreal Edmonton game. We know Montreal has looked outstanding. They rolled last week. Huss, this is the biggest number I think we've seen so far this season. What do you think about the Elks at home in their opener as 7-point dogs right now?
Well, it's funny, and listen, I'm seeing 6, but I will say, I mean, maybe, we know how these things work. I mean, Play Alberta is obviously dealing with people in Alberta.
Yeah.
Many Elks fans. And to me, when I saw that number, I'm like, how high do they need to get this number to have people to have confidence to lay it on the Elks as a home dog? Listen, I think the Montreal Alouettes are the class of the league right now. I mean, I think they are the team to beat. If we're doing a power poll right now, I don't know anyone that wouldn't have Montreal as the number 1 team. And they've really had their way so far this year, pounding the Argonauts at home and then going in, and albeit without Drew Brown, but putting up almost another 40 spot on Ottawa. I do think Montreal wins this game. Are they going to be winning by double digits? I'm not sure. I mean, when Hammer and I were on CFL 110, and we were putting this together, and we were looking at it at 5. We took it to 4.5, and even at 4.5, I'm like, okay, well, I mean, listen, I think Montreal is the better team. Could it be a shorter number? Yeah. I'm normally a guy that likes to take the points on home underdogs right now. But when I look at, a new coach, the work in progress that Edmonton is, all of their new players, and then think about the way Montreal's rolling at the start of the season, to be honest, this is probably the worst possible opponent that Edmonton can have, needing a win to get things started off right at Commonwealth, with Davis Alexander and this team coming in. So, I mean, 7.5 still seems like almost too much.
Yeah, we moved it on a bunch of parlays that we've got on our ESC specials page to 7.5. Just keep it within a touchdown here. And you know what? The path to keep it within a touchdown, and I agree with everything you said on Montreal. And if I'm just making a standalone play, gun to my head on this one, I'm going to be on the Alouettes. But the path to covering a number as big as 7 to me can be accomplished with 2 things that the Elks can do well. I like their defense. I like their defensive line. I think the combination of Morgan and Nick Anderson in the middle of that defense is one of the best 1-2 punches at linebacker in the league. So, I think they'll have to defend well, which they're capable of. And if they're going to keep it close or possibly pull off a week 3 upset here, they'll need to run the ball. And easier said than done against Montreal. But if you have an offense with Trey Ford and Justin Rankin and Javon Leake, you should be able to run the ball enough to stay in this football game. So, I mean, that would be the case to get on them at the 7.5 number. 7 early in the seasons, it's a pretty big number in the Canadian Football League. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always the possibility of a backdoor cover. And I don't think there's any way in their home opener with their new head coach, the vibes around this team, that you'll see this team kind of check out if they're down 14 or down 20 points in this game.
Yeah.
Well,
the other thing here is that Montreal so far has played Arbuckle and Matt Schultz. And I don't want to slight those 2 guys, but those are career backup guys, essentially. And I know the one guy was the MVP of the Grey Cup last year. But sorry to bring that up. They haven't faced Rourke, they haven't faced Zach, they haven't faced Trevor Harris or Bo or Vernon Adams. So I might be reading into how good Montreal's defense is a little bit too much. But I see Smitty the Welder from the chat says the Elks score 10 points max. And I'm like, well, maybe they do. I mean, it's a tough read, but they got to, it's a number that's great for conversation. Okay, well, keep that in mind. Let's come back around to it. Riders and Argos. The Argos, I think, announced on Twitter yesterday that they're going to be missing 5 starters, including Winton McManus. I'm looking at the Riders right now, 3.5. Minus 227 on the money line. They've started the year 2-0. They were out east last week. They're out east again. But Toronto, pretty banged up to start the season here. What do you think about a number like 3.5 on the road here for the Riders?
Well, and this just
and remember, we can move these around for a parlay too, right? So.
Yeah, but I will say this is why I love hitting the lines on CFL 110 on Tuesdays, and we need to next week, and I know we were listen, it was Oilers in the Stanley Cup final that was going to dominate everything.
Yeah.
We got to jump on these lines early because now this is 2 weeks in a row where we're now in great positions on games because of line movement from Tuesday, and now we're only at Thursday, and usually things continue to move in that direction. Saskatchewan was 2.5 early on. Winnipeg was 2.5 early on. Both of those lines have moved. But listen, Saskatchewan's been great so far. I think they've got a really good team top to bottom. I think Trevor Harris is getting the job done. That defense looks good. They've got some real competition in the backfield with Ouellette and now with Kadeem Carey as well.
Kadeem Carey's not playing this week. Bertrand Hudon's back, but still, I mean, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
But I mean, listen, these guys know that they need to produce if they want to stay in the lineup. I think internal competition in a situation like that is so good for the team. And listen, not only does it give you the depth in case someone gets hurt, but it puts a firecracker up the ass of the guy that's in the lineup right now to make sure that he's staying on top of the other guys in the depth chart. Listen, no Chad Kelly, all those other starters that you mentioned being out. This is just a really, really tough spot for the Argos to start. Do I think that they'll be there at the end, competitive in the playoffs? Absolutely. But I think this is going to take a little while. And I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders take advantage of a team that is a shadow of what they could be with their full roster together and keep things rolling. So I like them at 2.5.
Yeah.
Obviously, that move is significant, but I'd still take them at 3.5.
But I think, for parlay purposes and the fact that the boys will boost it, I think we just move it to 2.5 anyway and feel more comfortable about it. So we're both on board with the Riders down to a 2.5 number. 2.5 is also the number I'm seeing right now for PA Calgary Stampeders at home. Drew Brown not taking first team reps. I do believe earlier in the week, was it not Ottawa as a favorite when they were expecting Drew Brown to play?
It's been so weird. At the beginning of the week, it was Ottawa plus 1.5. Yesterday, it was Ottawa minus 1.5. And now it's back to Ottawa plus 1. This is just kind of the way I've been seeing it. Like 2.5 sounds like a lot more of a real line right now.
Yeah.
If it's not going to be Drew Brown. Because let's face it, Dustin Crum, as far as I can tell, was the third stringer for Ottawa. I mean, Drew threw for 400 plus on the road in Saskatchewan in week 1, and they lost. He didn't play the next week. They got killed. That was Malchi Schultz's turn.
Yeah.
Like, do we think that the Crum, Dustin Crum will always stick in our craw because of the Crum back?
He had the Crum back.
But I mean, other than that, is there anything that tells us that he's going to be the guy that wakes up and gets the most out of this offense? Pimpleton's hurt too, isn't he?
That's a good question. I think he is. I'm not on that game this week, so I haven't had any sort of like pre-game talks or anything.
That's a big
Bagleton's out. He's on the 6th game now. That's a big loss, but I do think that's an opportunity to get Philpott involved a little bit more, which I like.
Yeah. When you know who's not hurt? VA.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, a 3-0 start for Calgary would be massive. Anyways, if you're able to see a shorter line, jump on it. But I think anything, I don't know, maybe people are listening to the lock shop. I'm seeing things get locked, like literally as we speak. But yeah, I mean, listen, Calgary, I think, is going to be the favorite. And I think this, assuming that Drew Brown doesn't play, Dusty, like, let's just play this game. What do we think the kickoff line is? I wouldn't be surprised if it's more than a field goal.
If Drew Brown is out, I could see the kickoff line be 3.5 to 4.
That's exactly what I'm thinking right now. So even at 2.5 right now, if the quarterbacks are what we think they are, if you can get them at less than a field goal, I endorse the play.
Okay, and then Winnipeg and BC. Once again, a line that's moved around a little bit, settling in at least for a Thursday here at 3 points in favor of the Bombers. The BC Lions quarterback situation will remain up in the air. I think all the way up to probably game day. I am doing this game, so I had some meetings yesterday, and we met with both Rourke and Masoli. So usually, we usually get the starting quarterback. They gave us both of them because they don't know who's going to be going just yet. So, Huss, this Bombers -3 right now on the road against BC. Is this a no Nathan Rourke line in your opinion?
That's what I think.
I think so too.
I said that to Hammer when we saw it at 2.5. I'm like, okay, listen, if the Bombers are laying points on the road after being a home dog last week, to me, that says that they're gonna give Nathan Rourke the week off. And Dusty, it is a huge game. Like, we saw last year how huge the tiebreaker implications were in the West as the Bombers made up their ground after that 0-4 start.
This is like the equivalent of like a week 19 game in week 2.
This is the only other time these teams are playing all year long after the first week. So BC, to win the tiebreaker over Winnipeg, is going to need to win at home by 15 points. And how weird is that too? Let's assume it's Masoli for a minute. How often would you see two teams going back-to-back at the start of the season and seeing two completely different quarterbacking matchups?
Yeah.
We're likely have Caleros Masoli this week after having Streveler Nathan Rourke in week 1. And the fact of the matter was the Bombers won that game. Defense was great. Both teams are going to have the opportunity to make adjustments. It'll be really interesting to see how it plays out. But Zach Collaros has had monster games in BC in the past. And listen, Chris Streveler was great. We've never seen him be that effective passing the football so far in his career before, as consistently for a full 60 minutes. If the Streveler-led offense was able to do that in Winnipeg, what's a motivated and pissed off Zach Collaros going to do in week number 2? I like the Bombers in this game. I think I'd like the Bombers even if Rourke was playing, but I think you'd probably be looking at a pick'em or the Bombers as a slight underdog if Rourke was in, as opposed to the uncertainty. So this line tells me that the Bombers are probably going to be seeing Jeremiah Masoli, and that's why they'll be a bit of a road favorite, and I do like them to cover. Although the 3, I liked it a lot more in 2.5. Like, I do think that this game could be close. I think BC's got a lot more to show than they did last week.
Yeah, it's Masoli Collaros. That's a 2021 Grey Cup rematch, right? Like, that's what we'd be dialing back there. So that's interesting. What's the plan at running back? I know everybody loved that American guy in Winnipeg. Is it going to be Paterson though? I'm asking for Cavish Reed Fantasy Football League of Adult Thing purposes because I picked him up on waivers this week.
Yes. So Paterson has been the guy with the ones in practice so far this week. I don't like, if you're thinking that he's going to get another 20 plus carries, I would cool the jets a little bit on that. And the guy, apologize. I can find the guy because he hasn't played yet.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but I know the guy you're talking about. They said he had an amazing training camp and stuff.
Exactly. Like he's the American running back. And like someone said, he might be the guy that gets the first touches. The whole thing is that if you're losing Brady Oliveira, when you've got Brady Oliveira, you got a Canadian running back, and the ratio doesn't get touched if he's not in. All of a sudden, if you bring in an American running back, then it makes things a little more complicated staying ratio compliant. So I'm hoping that former Golden Bear Matthew Paterson can just pick up where he left off and get a lot of it. But I would expect that the number of carries is probably a split a little bit more early on in the game. And if one guy gets going, they'll run with a hot guy and deal with the corresponding moves around him to make that happen.
Just quickly, I want to get your thoughts on the NBA final here, but what are you okay if we go Riders -2.5, Calgary on the money line just to cover any sort of Drew Brown things? And then do we go like Alouettes and move it to 6.5? Or do you think we should go with the Bombers -2.5 because we move that down too?
Well, the one thing if you do Bombers as opposed to Montreal, you'll have an extra day to have it up.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, that is one thing. I sometimes like it when we're putting these
it can be up all day. It can be up all day tomorrow too, right? So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's not over tonight. But yeah, that's right. This game is tonight. We got to get all these picks in today.
Yeah, got to get everything in.
I fire everything over to it. Wait, yeah, I'd say Sask, Calgary, Winnipeg, and then you got the extra day. But as far as tonight goes, just tonight, do we have let's just take a look. Like, you got a prop or two? You got a receiver or a running back?
Well, we really liked Rankin a lot around here. He was on the Nielson show this morning. A little good juju for coming on the show. We've got him involved in a bunch of different things right now.
You almost got to bet the guy if he comes on. If he comes on. I'm seeing his total around 56.5.
Yeah.
They will want to run the football. They will definitely want to run the football. That's going to help Trey Ford out big time. Ford passing yards. What are you seeing for what?
Well, we put up a number in the Matt and Jay's big game parlay today. We went rushing and passing yards over 225 for Trey Ford. So that's one that we kind of like. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I think so. Quickly, Husk, we got to let you go. OKC ends it tonight. Or did the Pacers somehow find a way to stay alive, do you think?
I really want to bet the Pacers. I really want, and I want to just bet a money line and see it happens. But with the Halliburton hurt, it sort of feels like,
I know.
It sort of felt like when they lost in game 4, that was probably it. And they didn't show a lot in game number 5. I hate to say it, but I think the bet tonight is OKC minus 5.5. And I think it's probably 15, 20 point win. And I don't think the spread will be in danger. And I don't think there'll be any question who the number 1 team in the NBA is tonight.
Huss, so what's coming up in WST, buddy?
Oh, we're going to talk a little Bombers, get the latest on the blue and gold, getting ready for the game against the BC Lions. We'll talk a bunch of NHL offseason and wrap the cup final with our pal Murat Atesh of The Athletic, as well as his thoughts on Nikolai Ehlers. And Gold Eyes, Winnipeg Gold Eyes, home run king, Max Murphy's jumping on because tonight we've got our WST night. We sold out the entire lower patio. We're going to have a big patio party at the ball game tonight. So, it's going to be a lot of fun, but I will be keeping close attention to the phone to see if the Elks can make a game of it and, give the Montreal Alouettes a run for their money. I will say this, if that number is 7 or 7.5, I think just on principle, I'm going to have to lay a little wager on the Elks.
There you go. That's us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Davis Alexander over 1.5 TDs.
Okay, there you go. That sneaked in right at the end there. That's Haas Winnipeg Sports Talk coming up right away over in the WST channel. I just sent off, I just decided to play it safe a bit. I just threw over our lock shop partner parlay for the CFL this week. Riders, Stamps, Bombers, just all money line plays as the West continues to roll. So that number will be up. You'll find it on the EST specials page over at Play Alberta. Make sure you use your game sense. We've got it's a busy board already. We've got the Jay and Matt's big play of the day. Elks plus 7.5. Elks defense with a turnover. Rankin 50 plus rushing yards. Trey Ford 225 passing and rushing. That's plus 450. The early bird bet is up. We're riding with the local teams. Elks plus 7.5. Stingers plus 7.5. That's plus 225. Jay's play of the day is Justin Rankin, 75 plus rushing yards, plus 210. And then my play of the day, a little bit chalkier, Cody Fajardo, anytime TD, minus 111. And then the parlay will be going up as well. And that'll be a Stamps, Bombers, and who am I missing? Stamps. What did I just say? I just said it. Stamps. Riders. Stamps, Bombers, Riders on the money line as well. We'll give that a little boost and we'll throw it up on the EST special page as well. If you haven't used the codes yet, YEG 50, deposit 5 and get 50. EST Sports, deposit 20 and get 50. Download the app too. And it's pretty handy to hop on there. You'll see the EST specials tab right at the top. All right, 2 guys and the goalie is coming. Oh, I forgot. Cass isn't in today. Totally forgot about that till right now. But is Gager here? Gager's not here either? Oh, there he is. All right, so Gager and I own 2 guys today. Maybe we'll roll a couple of the boys in as a guest. Who knows? We'll see. There's lots to discuss for sure. That's going to do it for the Lock Shop today. Thank you very much for joining us. Best of luck tonight if you're riding with us or what you got on your own, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.